we are here to talk JJK, my Jujutsu scholars. So in this video, we're going to cover the water disaster known as Dagon, because in the last video, we covered Hanami, the earth disaster, alright? And next, we're going to do some stuff with maybe the fire or maybe the soul, who knows. So, without further ado, do me a solid, like the video, subscribe to the channel, please, and then hit the noti bell. Because if you guys do that for me, then I'm going to keep on posting videos. But I'm going to do that either way. Let's get into Dagon. So, Dagon, the water cursed spirit, just like Hanami and just like the rest of the crew, is an unregistered special grade cursed spirit. Dagon was a cursed womb when we first see him, and he wasn't able to manifest his full cursed spirit form because he, in a sense, was not strong enough yet. He was like an infant, basically, in the cursed spirit world. So when we see Dagon, until he gets to the point in Shibuyu where he's able to fight on his own, yes, he's strong enough to do a domain expansion. No, he's not strong enough to fight sorcerers on his own. So if Dagon was not with our boy Kenny Kenjaku or any of the other disaster cursed spirits, he would be exorcised. Like, he would be probably strong enough to take on a grade 3 sorcerer or below. But as far as a grade 2 or above, I mean, semi first grade or above, I would say. Maybe a grade 2 is pushing it for Dagon. He's still a special grade, and he still has a domain expansion, so I might be pushing it with that, alright? That might be a stretch. Semi first grade or higher, I'd say any first grade sorcerer can take out Dagon at the point where he was until he manifested his full cursed spirit form. Because we don't even know if Dagon was able to use his death swarm prior to manifesting as a full cursed spirit. So once Dagon got to the point in Shibuya where he was fully manifested, he was fully incarnated, he was a full-fledged cursed spirit, special grade level, he was an issue. So Dagon at that point was able to fight 2 first grade sorcerers and Maki, who has a heavenly restriction, which I get it. At this point, her heavenly restriction wasn't at full force, but it was close enough where it makes her strong enough to fight most cursed spirits. Now, don't get it twisted though. Dagon was not just the strongest he was in this form as a fully incarnated special grade cursed spirit, because any non-sorcerer would just be completely wiped out by Dagon's ability to basically use water pulse and then suck all the water back into his body. Because Dagon's cool little thing about him is he gets stronger by consuming people, because he could turn their flesh into cursed energy in order to get stronger. So he doesn't consume their bones, and that's why we saw Dagon, puke up all those bones in front of Nanami and the rest of the gang when they discovered him. That was also when we saw Dagon's rage for Hanami's death incarnate him into a full-fleshed cursed spirit. And that cursed spirit has the ability to control water on par with Jogo's ability to control fire or Hanami's ability to control the earth itself. Dagon really lived up to the fact that he was the water disaster, especially with his control over Shikigami as well. My god, he was a threat. You know how we do it on this channel. We go ahead and measure every single character that we explain by 13 characteristics, and those being skill, durability, strength, speed, endurance, reflexes, intellect, hand-to-hand combat, cursed energy, cursed technique, reverse cursed technique, domain expansion, and lastly, anti-domain technique. So without further ado, let me go ahead and break down to you guys which ones Dagon has, which boxes he checks, and then let's get into each individual skill set. So the blocks that Dagon checks off are definitely skill, durability, intellect, cursed energy, cursed technique, and domain expansion, especially domain expansion, my god. So let's get into his skills first, because Dagon's main skill is his ability to control water. He is so adept at controlling water that he is able to create water out of nowhere. He's able to create a giant whirlpool of water that even Maki stated that if they were fighting underground, say like in a parking garage, Dagon would have the ability to flood the entire location and completely drown them. He wouldn't even have to fight them. So Dagon's ability to control water and how much quantity of water he can produce is ridiculous. And that's because he has such a bottomless well of cursed energy. So when you ask me what is Dagon's skill set, what are we going to say? The ability to control water. Duh. And then when it comes to durability, oh my god, this dude is insane. Because it's not just that Dagon has a hard shell like Hanami. No. Dagon was stated by Nanami to feel like he has endless HP. It's not that you're not doing damage, it's just that you have to do so much damage to Dagon that you basically have to hit him until his HP just completely drains. And I get that sounds like every single character, that's how you beat them. But imagine if you're in like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm like 4, for example, and you have levels to your HP, or probably Dark Souls. I don't play it, but like they probably have the same thing, right? And you have levels and levels and levels of HP where it's like, oh, I just beat that bar. Oh, he has a full bar still underneath that. And then another one and another one. And that's Dagon. And that's why his durability is peak. Moving forward, we have Dagon's intellect. And if you ask me if he's intelligent, I'm going to tell you, yeah. Who else is going to figure out that in a tug-of-war of domains, your opponent's not trying to win? He's trying to put a hole in your domain so that all the sorcerers can just escape from it, even though you are outnumbered. Yeah, I'm going to say he's smart. I'm going to say he's intelligent, because who else is going to think about that, realistically? And if you don't think that that's smart enough, what about what he did with Naobito when he had him pinned down and Dagon looked pretty much defeated, but he confused him with a hand sign because Dagon doesn't need to make this hand sign in order to cast his domain. His hand sign appears on his chest, and yet he was able to confuse Naobito, distract him, and then create his domain expansion. He had plenty of time to imbue the cursed energy in order to create his domain by just distracting the guy. Even though the guy was smart enough, he's a grade 1 sorcerer who's been around for 70 years. Pretty sure he knows when something is trying to, use cursed energy. Yet Dagon was smart enough to fool him. And like I stated already, Dagon has a ton of cursed energy. You're not casting a domain expansion that massive inside the distortion in space by just not having that much cursed energy. Come on, you're gonna have a lot of cursed energy to create that deep of an ocean, that wide of an ocean. My god, he makes it seem like his domain expansion is literally endless. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere, brother. Like, crazy. So yes, the man has immense cursed energy. Also, do you see how many Shikigami he uses? Look at how many Shikigami Megami has, right? And I get it, it's called the 10 Shadows, but he's also able to make multiple Toads and multiple Shikigami inside of his domain expansion, which is an incomplete domain expansion, mind you. So if he's able to make multiple inside of that, look how much Dagon's making, and tell me that he doesn't have a lot of cursed energy. An immense pool of cursed energy, mind you. But with all that cursed energy, that's also how he's able to use his innate technique called Disaster Tides, and that is the water that he's able to cast. So, if you want to go into Naruto terms, this man can create water prison jutsu. He can use basically water dragon jutsu. Sure, it's not in the shape of a dragon, but it causes the same effect of creating giant pools of water in order to, swallow up opponents, move them around, smash them against walls. All of that jazz he's able to conduct. And while we're talking about disaster tides, let's finally get into those Shikigami that I mentioned previously, and let's just say he can create any form of Shikigami. You want a kraken, he's got you. You want a giant shark, piranha, you want a catfish, he's got you. It does not matter. This man's got you. He's got fish that I don't even know what they're called. He's got you, alright? He can make them in any size. He can make them in any shape. He could create eels out of his body. That's another thing. He doesn't even need to bring the fish from the water. He could just cast them coming out of his own body. So if he puts out his hand like he's about to blast you, yeah, he could put out a eel right through his palm. It does not matter. He's insane. He's insane, realistically, because instead of being outside of his domain expansion when you go to strike him and he uses water to block it, he just uses a Shikigami to block inside his domain. And not to mention that unless he's in a domain battle, it's a sure hit factor, my guy. It's a sure hit. This Shikigami is going to look like it's coming at you, and then it's just going to appear on you. So unless you're using an anti-domain technique, it doesn't matter. It's over. Of course, the last thing I got to talk about when I'm talking about Dagon is the fact that he has that beautiful domain expansion. Which, mind you, this is something that's neat that I didn't know about until I started researching about Dagon. It comes with 2 complementary chairs and an umbrella. So that umbrella and chairs that you see Mahito and Kenjaku on, yeah, no, they don't bring them. That's there already. Dagon creates them. I don't know. He really dove into the idea that it's a paradise. I don't know. But of course, his domain expansion is called Horizon of the Captivating Skanda, so I feel like I had to mention that before I finished off this video. And if you guys feel like you know a little bit more about Dagon thanks to this video, do me the favor of liking it, subscribe to the channel, please guys, it helps. And then hit the noti bell. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next video.